Welcome. You're listening to the Leading Hope Podcast. My name is VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day to become a better leader. If you're new, we release a new episode every Wednesday. We'd love for you to subscribe on YouTube and any of those other podcast platforms that you might be listening to. Also, share it with a friend on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And please rate and review on Apple Podcasts. You will not believe how that helps get this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders just like you. Share it with your teams as well, and visit leadinghope.online to get updates. Find out more about the Leading Hope community. We start a new series today, Kevin, and you've titled this series Audacious Leadership. Today is episode 128, The Audacity to Lead. Man.
This is going to be good.
It's going to be good.
Hey, so in this series, this is going to be a 3-part series. Part 1 today is I kind of want to explore this word that I've kind of been obsessed with. And
yes.
it's a weird thing to go like get obsessed with words.
No.
But that's kind of where I am
with you
right now. And so the word that I've been obsessed with is this word audacious. And doing a series on the weekends on Audacious through Messages, Bible, everything else. But also to apply this word into the context of leadership. And this is like the weird thing, if I could, I don't fully know how this is going to help or who this is for. And normally I'm really clear when we do an episode like, hey, if you're here, you need this in order to do this.
Oh.
So I don't really know how this is going to hit you. I mean, anything that you have that's helpful, we'll gladly receive and take back to just kind of help us keep the pulse on where our leadership community is and what's going. But this discussion is helpful for me.
Yeah.
And this thought has been helpful for me. So I thought, hey, at least I could share it with you, and I trust that it will be beneficial to someone. So the word audacious has 2 definitions. The first definition is a willingness to take bold risks. A willingness to take bold risks. And the second definition is rude or disrespectful behavior. You could just say like the first one to like, he climbed that mountain without any harness or tools or equipment. That's audacious.
Very.
He went right up to the queen and asked for a cookie.
Oops.
Audacious. You said oops like it was timed out. That was fantastic. So that kind of gives us what our definitions are. And so I want to take kind of the turn towards leadership is to say that to lead is audacious in terms of the first definition. To lead anything, and we'll get into like categories, what that looks like. To lead anything is audacious. Like it is a bold risk, and you have to be willing. Like good leaders aren't hostages. They're willing volunteers as part of it. And so to say like to lead is audacious. To want to lead is audacious, being both definitions. So to lead itself is a willingness to take bold risks. But to want to lead is not only a willingness to take a bold risk, but it's often viewed as rude or disrespectful behavior. That leadership is audacious. And I'll get into how this resonated with me in just a second, but if we could first kind of just live in this for a second. So let me take this idea through the different actions of leadership. So let's take planning. Strategic planning, one of the important roles that leaders do. The idea behind planning is we can create a better future than we have now.
Yes.
Like that's pretty audacious.
Yes.
To just be like, this thing that we have, that we've inherited, could be improved upon, and even significantly.
Yes.
It is like, not only is that bold, but it could be viewed as rude in the same process.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you disregard that other people didn't take it as far as they could have?
Right.
Well, they didn't. And so that's why we're here. Audacious. Team building. This is team building. You should leave this other thing that you're doing and come do it a better thing over here with us.
Oh.
It's audacious.
Yeah.
Like this, whatever it is you're doing in your life, you should not do that. and go do this as part of our team.
It's good.
Because it's better.
Yeah.
This is like, and I know no one is actually like, that's hopefully not your pitch.
Yeah.
But that's really what is like underneath that. Like,
Right.
This would be better for you and the world and us if you came and did it here instead of doing that thing over there. Audacious. Public speaking. What I have is meaningful enough that multiple other people should sit there and listen to me talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
like you say this, like even in conversation to go, my wisdom, my insight, my thoughts are worth sharing. That's a little bold, presumptive to think of, not just connection, but to go, now many people are going to give significant time to let me, and I'm actually going to invent technology that will allow me to speak to more people than just my vocal cords will allow me to.
Yeah.
It's pretty audacious.
You're enjoying this.
I am.
Which I'm enjoying.
Good.
Yeah, keep going.
Confrontation. I have the right to tell you that what you're doing is wrong and should be done better, more how I think it should be done.
Yep.
It's just like the absurdity of every single bit of this.
All true.
All true.
All true.
And so here's the piece that I really want to get to is all of the actions of leadership are audacious.
Yeah.
And oftentimes in both definitions, that it's a willingness to take a bold risk, but it also could be viewed as rude or disrespectful behavior. Now, I'm not saying that to give you a license to just be rude. That's not the goal of this. Like, well, I listened to the podcast on the Audacity to lead, and I can be a jerk. That's what Kevin said. I can just be rude. No, that's not what I want you to hear. I want you to hear this. The audacity to lead means that even the act of leadership itself should make you feel a little crazy.
Yeah.
Should make you feel like you're a little off your rocker, like you don't have everything together. Like there is a piece of this at the very core, and all the actions that you take as a leader that is just like this. It is cautious that your audaciousness doesn't become arrogance. It's cautious that your audaciousness doesn't just live out as you being a jerk. But there's got to be this piece of this that goes, man, I feel a little nuts to be doing this.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not, I feel like it's like an overstatement because we talk about it. I'm going to hit this more in one of the future ones or the next episode on dreaming. But like there's this piece of like we can make this thing and it's incredible and it's never been done before. Who are you to think you can make this thing that's incredible that has never been done before?
Yes.
And that is audacity at the core. Years ago when I was 25, yeah, I think that's right, 25 years old, I, with a group of people, planted a church. And there was just like this piece of this that was like crazy that it was, there isn't a church. And we're going to put together our resources and talents, and we're going to connect our relationships into this thing that's called a church. And there's not going to be a church, and then there is going to be a church. And we're going to create this thing out of thin air. And then it's going to be there, and it's still there to this day, and it's incredible. And I can remember just this piece of this that like continuously throughout this process was like, do I really think that we can do this? Does this seem like, because like to create in terms of like church work, to create a product would be one thing. I created this product. It's visible. It's tangible. It's here. I built this building. Now it's here. We were creating this thing that was communal and relational at the core, yet it still was something. It's just like, can we do that? And we're like, I think we can.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we have the ability to do it. Like it feels nuts to be doing this, but we think this is the thing that we're supposed to do. And I can remember we got a bunch of these T-shirts made for our launch Sunday, which Church World is like just like one of your best opportunities to invite a whole bunch of guests the first week that the church is open. And I can remember on the back of the shirt, we put not just another church, a different kind of church. Oh, no, that wasn't on the back. That was on the front. We put that in. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. We had our information on the back. It was in big, bold letters on the front. And it was not just another church, a different kind of church. And I remember the audacity of that. That it was like, and I say that as like second definition.
Yeah.
Like people saw that and they were offended.
Yeah.
And they were bothered. And I look at it now and I go, they should have been. But we were right.
Yes.
It was a completely different category of church for the area that we were in, who we were trying to reach, and what we were attempting to do. And it was bold, and it was crazy, and it was a little bit rude, and it was all those things, and we were able to do it.
Yes.
Because, we weren't able to do it because it was audacious. But if we weren't audacious, we would have never been able to do it because the goal itself was audacious. And so I guess my greatest hope for this episode today, and then the two we're gonna narrow down on two things and kind of help you hopefully overcome some of your struggles with Audacity. But it's just this piece to say, like, if you're a leader, if you're involved in planning or confrontation or public speaking, like in all these things, there's a little piece of this that's got to make you feel, this is nuts. Like, how is this happening? How is this actually a thing? A couple of years ago, I switched to the handheld microphone because I hated when I was out and about beforehand. And if you're not bothered by this, I'm not putting this on you.
Right.
I hated having a headset.
Yeah.
Because it was a reminder to everyone at all times, hey, you and I are having a conversation now, but in about 10 minutes, I'm going to go talk to all of us.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and I know no one thought that, but I just hated that was right there at all times. This reminder that I'm about to go speak to people through the means of technology because my vocal cords aren't strong enough to handle the size of the audience that I'm going to speak to.
Right. Yeah.
It's audacious.
Yes.
It's crazy.
There's the word itself is intriguing. I also share the same. We had this word come up, I don't know, beginning of the year.
Yeah.
When we were discussing different topics and different things. But this word, it's intriguing when you look at the meanings in the way it has a double meaning, so to speak.
Yeah.
But from a biblical sense, it's a tricky one. There's a lot there. There's a lot, especially when you have a story.
Okay.
And when you have a story, and you use, so let's go this way. You said you've got to be a little crazy, a little off your rocker.
A little bit.
Couldn't agree more. Like, you think about, who we worship.
Yeah.
And all the things, like all the things that Christians believe in. You have to be a little bit like something there.
Yeah.
There's audacious to believe.
Yep.
And there's something there on the other side that turns it. Then why don't we live that way if we believe that way?
No, that's good.
And it comes out in your public speaking and all the other things you said. But for you specifically, I would say, what? You've been doing this? How long have you been doing this?
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, going so far back.
16 years?
16 years.
16 years paid.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just start there. That's easier. Doesn't count unless you get paid. I'm just joking. Just joking. Completely joking. If you go 6 years in, to your 10 years ago, are you more audacious today than you were then?
That's a great question.
Where are you in that journey of being?
Are you asking me or are you asking them?
Asking you.
Me? More.
Yeah.
Yeah, more.
Yeah. And so what has transpired to create that and cultivate that in your life? Because that's what the audacity to lead, you're continuing down, you've already went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Now you're doubling down on it.
Yeah.
So talk about that. Like 10 years ago, maybe not so much. Now I'm all in.
I mean, there is just this piece of everything within leadership that feels unreasonable. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
Is to say, when we're saying audacious, it just feels, what? You have a better picture of the future than us, and you want people to sacrifice time, talent, ability to come together to make this greater contribution that someone hasn't seen. And so, but this weird thing that happens is, like, at first, like, man, for me, your dreams and goals are like, they're just like what you imagine isn't that huge, comparatively speaking, but it feels crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can do this. Oh, yeah, I can. This is fine. I can remember, it's so funny, like, all the different things I did that, supervision, all these other pieces, and then I became a youth pastor. And it may not sound like a big deal. Some of you, like, you may be playing such a larger scale, this is going to sound stupid. I remember then it was like they gave me the keys to the church van, and we're like, all right, now you're going to take these 20 teens on an overnight and go do this, and it's just you and your wife, and we're like 22 at the time. Those teens are like 3 years younger than us. We're like, we're going to do what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, well, you're the adults now. In a second, I went through the adults. Like, adult supervision my entire life. People over watching every single thing that I did, double-checking me on everything. And in a second, now I'm responsible for 20 other people who aren't well-behaved.
Yeah.
It's like, and it feels crazy, but then you keep doing it, and you begin to settle into it, and it's still nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it's still nuts. But as you settle into it, then you're able to tackle more and more. And you don't live at the current level of responsibility or dream or idea or planning or confrontation. As you do it more and more, you become comfortable with that level of audacity, and so you're able to increase what you view as audacious.
Yeah, and you do maybe become comfortable. I think you just have such a high level of expectation that I know it's coming, and therefore I'm able to move through it.
Yeah.
The other part is that you you were given that at that age of 20 people, but 20 people doesn't stay 20 people. 20 people becomes 200 people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Eventually it comes 2,000 people. Eventually it might, let's be audacious, 20,000 people.
Yeah.
200,000 people, right? Like, what keeps us from not thinking that way? Like in this scenario, like what is it because of those things that you said? Is that I know a couple episodes it was that thing about failing, but there's other things here that would say, hey, I don't want to be confrontational. I'd rather just get by.
Yeah, I would almost describe it as like we become, everything within this is audacious.
Yes.
Everything within leadership shows audacity. And then we become comfortable with our competency at our current level of audacity.
That's great.
And we just stay there. And so to say, like, originally to go, oh, we're going to do this massive monumental thing is too crazy to verbalize. And so we say something significantly lower that is still nuts to talk about. And so much of leadership is being comfortable with being audacious.
Yeah.
Becoming normalized with saying, this thing that I'm doing doesn't feel normal, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Wrap it up for us then, man.
So the idea for today, and we're going to hit the two other ideas, zeroing in on dreaming and deciding the next 2 weeks. But I want you to know today that to lead itself is audacious. The question is, how far into audacity will you be willing to go? And we want to help you take you further in that.
And that is all we have today. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, it means the world to us if you did that now. Also post about it, rate and review. You will not believe how that helps get this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders just like you. Make sure you come back next week for the second part of the Audacity series, Leadership. And we love hearing your stories of how the podcast is working in your life and business. If you have a story, visit leadinghope.online and send that to us today. We would love to hear from you. Remember, everyone has 20 minutes to become a better leader. Make it count.